you do one last thing for me, Arthur?
Anything, Miss Artie?
Play the Garden of Love.
Meet the Feebles is a 1989 film from acclaimed director Peter Jackson, who would later go on to mention it during his acceptance speech when Lord of the Rings: The Return of the King won Best Picture in 2004.
A special thanks to Peter Nelson and Ken Cammons, who were with me right from the days of Bad Taste and Meet the Feebles, which were wisely overlooked by the Academy.
Now, I know you're all wondering what terrible secret I'm about to uncover about the man who brought Middle-earth to life and then spent 3 movies making us wish he hadn't. You're all wondering, what is Peter Jackson hiding? It's Meet the Feebles. He's hiding Meet the Feebles from us. Have you seen this fucking movie? What Meet the Feebles says about the culture of New Zealand in the late 1980s is actually quite compelling. Imagine that a rabbit, let's say Bugs Bunny, contracts—
No, shut up. Katie, get him out of here. I have to talk about Half-Life 2 until the end of time. This video has absolutely nothing to do with Meet the Feebles, which is a cinematic masterpiece and should have been considered by the Academy, but no, they went with Driving Miss Daisy, which had no machine gun massacres, not one. I don't love Half-Life 2. I know it's a good game, I respect it, I know it's designed with an incredible attention to detail and Valve's trademark Valveness, and people have been haunting me for years for a video, like what am I going to say about a game that's been discussed endlessly already? What could I possibly add? Half-Life 2 is the best game ever made, according to PC Gamer, and you know what? From a purely technical standpoint, plus the influence the game has had, I guess so? I feel weird calling anything the best game ever made when it has a pistol this shitty. I'm getting ahead of myself. After 6 years of what's been described as a painful and arduous development cycle fraught with problems, including Valve being sued by Vivendi, the company nearly going bankrupt, you know, all the hallmarks of a studio working on a legendary game. They even hired a guy from Looking Glass to prepare for bankruptcy. Half-Life 1 was a runaway success, which surprised Valve for some reason. They thought that Half-Life would fail, and then it did the exact opposite and completely changed the genre. So they wanted to make a sequel. Thanks to Half-Life 2's 20th anniversary happening recently, I have a whole documentary from Valve to pull information from, and it's quite illuminating. For one thing, they wanted to outdo themselves, so they started working on a new engine that's still carrying around some old Quake DNA. They added fancier lighting, physics, mind-blowing animations, and not just the facial animations, all of them. The production quality of this game makes you start to think there might be something to running your company on Valve time. The lawsuit I mentioned was actually started by Valve because Vivendi, who had publishing rights to their titles after buying Sierra, was licensing Counter-Strike out to cyber cafes. Well, Valve didn't like that and felt like Vivendi was overreaching with their licensing agreement, so they filed a little lawsuit. Vivendi, in retaliation, attempted to destroy the company with legal costs and murder what people call the best game ever made. And Steam, not that it was great at the beginning. And also, were personally going after Gabe Newell and his wife. I know I'm using the Pentagon Wars music, kids, but what if, just this once, the bad guys didn't win? So Vivendi inundates the company with counterclaims because they can't possibly give up the money they're making from cyber cafes in the Asian market for one game, or cut a fairer deal with the people who made that game that's pulling money in for them.
Publishers at that time in the industry were used to being able to bully developers, right? And so this was really about an assertion of power as much as it was optimizing for a financial outcome.
Valve here is about to run out of money, and then there's no Half-Life 2, no Steam, no Portal, no Team Fortress 2, no Dota, no nothing. But what if a miracle happened? And by miracle, I mean Valve being fucking unstoppable. One does not cross Gabe in the White. Valve wasn't in the same position of power it is today. So when Vivendi dumped a bunch of documents on them in Korean, they didn't know what to do, except one of their interns was a native speaker, so they had him read it, and Vivendi, well, they made a little mistake. They may have sent Valve documents that had someone admitting to destroying evidence in the case on orders from higher-ups. And so now Valve is able to wrestle away control of their IPs from the greedy, stupid publisher, and then they release the best game ever made, and Gabe Newell is recounting this story from his fucking yacht. This is what happened when you fucked around with Valve before they had a Steam-powered money machine. Somebody go back in time and tell that to Tim Sweeney. Oh, I gotta talk about the beta leak. Not really in depth because it's not that interesting. I mean, okay, so the beta for Half-Life 2 leaked in September of 2003, about 14 months before the game itself came out. Valve was very embarrassed, and I can understand why, although it's certainly interesting from a historical perspective. I mean, look at these cakeless head crabs. All these new polys and a physics engine, and they made the head crab's asses flatter than week-old Nutrifuel. This video is sponsored by Nutrifuel, and I'm proud to introduce the newest flavor of one of the top 15 selling gamer-branded energy drinks of the year 2018. That's right, it's frozen confetti cake. Comes right out of the can like a good cheese pull. What you see here is a lot of the rough sketches of the things that would appear in Half-Life 2. Arenas, locations, hell, whole sections would be reworked and polished into playable levels that are instantly recognizable. Like this bit from the tail end of the Ravenholm chapter, or these areas in the city. There's even a rough draft of the opening train station chapter where Barney's here telling you,
Look here, Gordon. That's the Terminal Plaza.
if you say so.
Look for citizens wearing a Lambda. Talk to them and they'll help you on your way.
Yeah, that didn't exactly make it in. There are stalkers who are actual enemies and not just props, which they would be until episode 1. Look at this, I'm playing Borealis with a Tau cannon. This feels illegal. I mean, it was illegal, the guy who leaked it, right? Valve had this cunning plan to lead him to the US from Germany with a job offer to work on beefing up their security, and then they were going to have the FBI arrest him when he got there. Germany heard about this and said, nah, we'll do it, so they arrested him and gave him 2 years probation. He was also involved in some other cyber crimes. What can the beta tell us? That Valve had a very concrete idea of what Half-Life 2 would be by 2003, which is good because then they made it and everything was right with the world. I love Half-Life 2 and I'm certainly not afraid to step on Valve's toes or anger Gabe Newell. Wait, I'm already in jail. What the fuck is Gabe gonna do to me? Please leave my Steam account alone. So I've been reading comments because I'm forced to. I read comments on every video, which for a YouTuber is like dragging yourself through broken glass. And given the choice,
Read the flagged replies, Civvy.
it's just gonna be slurs. It's always slurs. Look, you fat fucking make a video on Half-Life 2 already. And also go fuck yourself. Also Deus Ex. Also I hate you. Keep up the awesome content, you
Now the ones on Reddit.
Several commenters have pointed out and gotten very angry about the fact that in the first video I didn't use an old version of Half-Life. And here I thought I'd be okay as long as I didn't play Half-Life Source. Oh no, see, because Valve has been changing things, updating the engine and the effects, and some people don't like that. So I played what, at the time, was the newest version of Half-Life 2, and I got a whole playthrough of that. But what y'all couldn't possibly have known is that I've had an old copy of Half-Life 2 this whole time. This is the Half-Life 2 Game of the Year edition from 2005. I've had this up my ass for 8 years, which explains why my shits look like this. So kids, on the menu today, we've got Half-Life 2, just as you remember it, plus Half-Life 2 from a couple months ago, and then I played the episodes with the newest update they did for the 20th anniversary, which is strangely the only one that crashed on me. So what are the differences between the versions of base Half-Life 2? Ragdolls are faster and more forceful and more early 2000s, specular effects are more early 2000s, the newer versions of the engine have dynamic shadows, the Vortigaunts look different, player movement is different and buggier, the Combine soldiers look different, the fire effects look different. Wouldn't it be weird if the people telling me to play an earlier version of Half-Life 2 because they wanted me to make a super special video dedicated to their hyperfixations were just wasting my fucking time?
Rise and shine, Mr. Freeman. Rise and shine.
Still not calling me Dr. Freeman, like what the hell? Mike Shapiro says he plays the G-Man as someone existing in multiple moments in time, so maybe he's somewhere before Gordon graduated from MIT. Either way, it's disrespectful as hell.
Not that I wish to imply you have been sleeping on the job. No one is more deserving of a rest, and all the effort in the world would have gone to waste until, well, let's just say your hour has come again.
Hey, what happened to Gordon's baby? I'm waiting for a train. Again. Oh, look, the seats are shinier in the new version. Better make a note of it.
I didn't see you get on.
Yeah, I was teleported here, silently, by some kind of extra-dimensional being who's using me to do... It's something. So yeah, I'm waiting for the train to arrive. I'm not gonna say that this game sucks because the amount of care put into this introduction is wild to me. Little details like this object getting pushed around by the wind, I think. There's clearly a trigger for it, but who thought to do that? Who was like, we need the player to know about the physics now? In fact, the amount of information delivered to you in the first room of this game simply through audio and visual cues is stunning. And I think Breen is a shit villain.
Welcome. Welcome to City 17. You have chosen, or been chosen, to relocate to one of our finest remaining urban centers. I thought so much of City 17 that I elected to establish my administration here.
Already, through the imagery, you know the deal. Everybody's wearing the same clothes, carrying the same suitcases. There's an old guy on a giant monitor telling you that a numbered city is one of the finest urban centers in front of a wall covered in propaganda that's written in an alien language. There are times when Half-Life 2's writing and presentation fails. This ain't one of them. You see a creepy gas-masked guard pushing a guy from your train around, and if you hang around too long, he pushes you. Hey, there's somebody on the phone here asking for a fascist asshole.
Passing through on your way to parts unknown.
So over here, anyone who played the first game is going to recognize the alien slave from before, now known as a Vortigaunt. It isn't shooting lightning at anything. It's carrying a broom and sweeping up.
Were you the only ones on that train?
This desperate woman asking you that implies things about this world that aren't clearly stated, which is that whoever she's waiting for may never get there due to circumstances outside of her control, you know, like the Combine, which is something the designers intended, and sometimes it works.
You just give these NPCs a name at the moment they die and let the fans fill in their whole life story and...
Dear God! Poor Laszlo! The finest mind of his generation! To come to such an end.
Because he's my best friend, he's my pal, he's my homeboy, my rotten soldier, he's my sweet cheese, my good time boy.
Who is Laszlo? Why was he the finest mind of his generation? I'm not going to think about him again after this interaction because he's nobody. The important information in that part comes when this guy's telling you that he's trying to get to the Vortigaunt camp to get some bug bait. The thing you're gonna do. Half-Life 2 doesn't hold the player's hand like a lot of games that were made after. No, instead it just restricts the area in which you can move your hand until you reach out and grab it. There's no better example of this than... This one action is like a Rosetta Stone for understanding how Half-Life 2 works. This is a Combine Metro cop, and he's being a petty douche, and teaching you that you can grab physics objects, like nearly anything small in the world, like all this trash littered everywhere. So...
Thank you for writing, sir. Of course, your question touches
Oh man, really? Look, I get it. I'm playing a game that simulates a brutal dystopia as a form of escapism to forget about the actual dystopia I live in. In the context of this YouTube show about a man in a secret underground detention facility, I'm sure everything up there is fine. Half-Life 2, like Half-Life 1, guides you by the nose through the entire game, but totally not in a disrespectful way where it thinks you're an idiot.
It's me, Gordon. Barney from Black Mesa.
Holy crap, Lois, it's Barney from Black Mesa!
Hey, sorry for the scare. I had to put on a show for the cameras.
Barney, in the intervening 20 years, has infiltrated the Metro cops and is now making sure you don't get on a train to a scary place called Nova Prospect.
I've been working undercover with civil protection. I can't take too long or they'll get suspicious. I'm way behind on my beating quota.
I'm not sure if this implies that Barney has tortured political dissidents in order to maintain his cover. Meeting Barney first is actually pretty cool because of the characters in Half-Life 2 and its episodes, he's one of the very few that doesn't immediately suck off Gordon Freeman.
Great Scott! Gordon Freeman!
Isaac Kleiner is the first scientist we meet in this game. He's been given a character beyond...
Why do we all have to wear these ridiculous ties?
See, because...
For me, it was the idea of it's a science team. That suddenly, you could put those guys anywhere, and because they have like a familial interconnectedness, and they recognize Gordon, that will make you feel like it's a continuation of the story.
If you say so, Mark Laidlaw.
I expected more warning.
Yeah, you and me both, Doc. He was about to board the express to Nova Prospect.
Well, Barney, what do you intend?
I'm thinking.
Alex is around here somewhere. She would have a better idea how to get him here.
Sure she would. And you'll meet her. But the game needs to really reinforce the setting by having you walk through town a bit, get your picture taken, see the Combine being oppressive, you know, so there's no misunderstandings. You see, Valve loves you. So it's not going to let you miss anything. If you didn't see the guy in the interrogation room before and get it, here's another guy being shaken down in a room you're not allowed to enter. Did you think Pick Up That Can was teaching you about physics objects? Wrong, because you have to learn to pick up and pile boxes before Barney lets you go.
This is how it always starts. First the building, then the whole block.
These people could certainly use some cheering up, and what is my job if not to bring entertainment to people? I'm a dystopia clown, kids, so let's use everything we've learned so far to bring some goddamn merriment to these people. Forget this asshole on TV. Broadcast is dead. I've got this doll. It makes noises. It might even pee itself.
When is it all going to end? Please.
It's all right.
Hey, looks like somebody's got a case of the Mondays. I got a brand new character for you guys. It's Dumpster Baby. Dumpster Baby has a worse life than you could possibly ever have. Dumpster Baby lives in a little box with only trash to keep her company. Suffers the tortures of the damned, I tell you. Isn't that right, Dumpster Baby? The Combine are, in fact, clearing out this building, and now we have to run for the next, 4 chapters of the game. It isn't long before they corner you, as they are an unstoppable oppressive force in this world, until you have a gun. But that's not important right now. You know what is? Facial animations.
Ha! No, you don't!
Dr. Freeman, I presume.
So, games had facial animations before Half-Life 2, but not like this. This is 2004. Alex's expression changes as she hears something, with subtle shifts in her eyebrows and mouth, and no matter what problems I have with this game, and there are plenty, this was unlike anything people had seen before.
I'm Alex Vance. My father worked with you back in Black Mesa. I'm sure you don't remember me, though.
Nope, not even a little. What were you, 4? Also, this right here, this look, this little subtle movement, that conveys within 45 seconds of meeting you, Alex wants to invite you into her blast pit. She wants to be on your rail. Alex wants you deep in her lambda core. She wants to process your residue without any apprehension. And thanks to the suppression field the Combine has, there will be no unforeseen consequences. Because nobody can have kids. You know, in hindsight, I think Dumpster Baby might have been a little insensitive. My point is that Alex Vance is making fuck-me eyes at you, and that this is a milestone in video game technology. Why she's so attracted to a mute-goateed man who should be 20 years older and only expresses himself through violence and solving simple physics puzzles, but let's be real, it's totally about the violence. Man, I don't know.
Remember him from Black Mesa? Your old administrator.
No.
Don't get my dad started on Dr. Breen.
Why? Because he might actually tell me something about him? Shut up, Mark Laidlaw. There's no other medium you'd get away with this kind of character writing.
Uh-oh, everything all right, Dr. Kleiner?
Oh, hello, Alex. Well, almost all right. Lamar has gotten out of her crate again. If I didn't know better, I'd suspect Barney of trapping and... My goodness. Gordon Freeman. It really is you, isn't it?
I found him wandering around outside. Bit of a troublemaker, isn't he?
We owe a great deal to Dr. Freeman, even if trouble does tend to follow in his wake.
Okay, so I guess Freeman did save the world from the Nihilund, and then disappeared for 20 years, and the trouble that followed was the Combine taking advantage of the dimensional rifts we opened up to invade Earth, because you wanted to shoot a funny crystal with a big laser. Oh, I'm sorry, the G-Man wanted to shoot a funny crystal with a big laser. I'd explain why, but Half-Life hasn't for the better part of 3 decades.
When he brought in that crystal, I knew I should have aborted that damn test, but I didn't.
This is a red letter day. We'll inaugurate the new teleport with a double transmission.
Oh, we're doing teleportation experiments. What could possibly go wrong?
You mean it's working? For real this time? Because I still have nightmares about that cat.
No, there's nothing to be nervous
What
about.
cat?
We've made major strides since then. Major strides.
What cat?
There was a serious push to make Half-Life 2 more light in tone after earlier versions had a darker, more depressing dystopia.
We didn't think players would enjoy spending 20 to 40 hours in such a dark and a kind of oppressive setting.
So yeah, everything is brighter and there are some jokes thrown in. Like Lamar. I hate her. A lot. Stupid Jar Jar ass comic relief.
Never fear, Gordon. She's de-beaked and completely harmless. Final sequence. What the hell? What is it? It's your freaking headhopper! Teddy, look out!
This is the boomerest ass reference ever put into a video game, and they get away with it because of science. Hedy Lamarr was a famous actress from the 1930s and 40s, but also an inventor, so it kind of fits. So Lamar, the head crab, which goes around trying to copulate with people's faces, sets the whole plot in motion because she makes the teleporter fail. Meaning that Lamar is a double agent. The teleporter does work for Alex, who's whisked away to Black Mesa East. The trip will not be as fun for us. You almost get to Black Mesa East, but then nope, you're in Breen's office, and he's the first person who isn't happy to see you.
I'm all but certain it was Gordon Freeman.
So I have to make a lot of assumptions here because everybody knows that Gordon Freeman saved the world, I guess. Breen seems to know more. He sees Gordon Freeman as a huge threat. Maybe?
This is not some agent provocateur or highly trained assassin we are discussing. Gordon Freeman is a theoretical physicist.
I think it's more that people see Gordon Freeman as a leader, a savior, and my God does that drag this game down. Gordon being Jesus flies in the face of Half-Life 1, where he was just a guy. The whole point was that he was just a guy. He went to work and shit hit the fan, and he had to deal with it. Now, well, he's incredibly important. People want to follow him, and this girl wants him to accelerate her particles, if you know what I mean. Half-Life 1 was a rebuke to the power fantasy shooters that came before it, you know, like Doom and Quake and Duke Nukem, and basically all shooters up to that point. Now, not so much. And you might be tricked into thinking that Half-Life 2 doesn't want to take that route either in the opening chapters because you spend most of the time being chased by the Combine.
Oh, and before I forget, I think you dropped this back in Black Mesa. Good luck out there, buddy. You're gonna need it.
Yeah, right, because the crowbar is iconic. I dropped a glue-on gun too, asshole. Where's that? The name of this chapter is apt because it's annoying. Valve likes to make the player feel weak, kinda, before giving them better tools and then letting them go nuts. It's a recipe for catharsis. You don't have a gun yet? Well, when you get one, you'll realize the Metro cops are not a threat. Not like you're used to. The HECU grunts were way worse. Their AI, their skill, their weapons, they could mop the floor with most of the Combine soldiers. And this is the playthrough I did on hard. On medium, it's even easier. Valve had some rules for the Combine. Alright, like their AI wouldn't let more than 2 of them shoot you at the same time. Or the fact that the AI itself was more of a loose framework that let them puppeteer them so that they play nicer and easier in scripted sequences. I guess they just don't make them like they used to.
No! Nobody ever made them like this.
This is what happens when you can make a game on Valve time. A thing most developers don't have the resources to do. Valve almost didn't have the resources to do it. They worked on this game for 6 years, and to put that in perspective, Notorious Vaporware Daikatana took 3 years. Doom 3 took 5 years. This game has been whittled down into a singular experience, not just over the development cycle, but for the last 20 years they've been patching it. So you're being chased by Metro cops, and all you've got is a shitty pistol that's still pretty effective. But that's boring, so let's put explosive barrels everywhere, and then, after we've introduced that, the Combine will start using them on you. I know I need to get to the other side of this, but I'm waiting for a train. The game is having its cake and eating it. The Combine are made of tissue paper, and they're an oppressive force because they're spawning all over the damn place and easily killing NPCs. And here's a safe place to test out the turrets. And another thing... Mechanics are introduced in fun ways that don't quite hit the same when you've played the game a bunch. Like the first time I threw an explosive barrel at a group of barnacles, yeah, that was great. Not just because of the barnacles in this game, but because of the way they were used in Half-Life 1. Half-Life 2 is front-loaded with the parts that I hate. I know why it's like this. Valve is following their playbook. And part of that playbook is extensive playtesting.
Dozens and dozens of people come through, and you sit there painfully, silently, taking notes while they struggle and get frustrated, and then you go and you fix that over and over and over again.
Yes, the players are the boss. You're making the best game ever for them, Valve. So we need them to understand everything, guide them. It's all for them.
It's all for you!
Yeah, you know, the man hacks are annoying, but you get a 0-point energy field manipulator later, so it's good. You'll love it. And Valve's gonna make you fight them until you're sick of it, with some light puzzle solving along the way. And this room just fucking full of explosive barrels. You can do it a little faster now because you have a submachine gun, which isn't really a good weapon as much as it is a serviceable one. Why don't I have a shotgun yet? I fucking despise Water Hazard. I have always despised Water Hazard. It's 2004 and I'm despising Water Hazard. It's 2024 and I'm despising Water Hazard. I hate the airboat and how it controls.
We did this whole other pass of the canals where we dialed down the consequences for failing the tricks, and we dialed up the feeling of, you know, power.
Power, huh? Well, you don't have a gun on the airboat yet due to classic Valve blue balling. You're stopping every few minutes to grab supplies or something, almost like exploring, but not really.
If you stop here, we're going to give you a reward, basically, either a narrative reward or like an actual like in-game like reward.
One of the illuminating things about that documentary is how Valve employees talk about their design techniques and how they iterate in order to make the game accessible to people who want to play it in different ways. Like in this level, they wanted to make it so you could stop and look around and collect supplies, but they also wanted to make it so you could just race through it. Now, you can't really balance a game properly if you're making it for both of these options, so even in this playthrough, with a more modern version, while I'm playing on hard, there's so much health around that it makes the battles fairly trivial. Like, there's health everywhere. Everywhere. And you know, you stop off to get the airboat out of the water and you move it to... Oh yeah, baby, Game of the Year edition! And I guess it wouldn't be a proper Half-Life game without a helicopter chasing you. They make you run from this thing without being able to shoot at it, except for this part right here. If you want to do it properly, you have to get to a checkpoint where a Vortigaunt puts a gun on the airboat and an NPC tells you where to go next, even though it's a straight line. I'm not going to sit here and say that the end of the airboat chapter is bad, because Valve knows what they have to do to win back the player, and that's drop the gunship right in front of you as you exit so you can get some shots in. You hear that? The alarm that sounds like it's screaming in agony, the explosions and the fire. That's one of those carefully crafted moments that Valve loves to build up to. Whatever came before it, no matter how obnoxious, oh, now it's all worth it. Now the Combine are even easier to kill. You're a star, Gordon Freeman, our blank slate for the player to project themselves on. You're such a good boy, and now you've really got the power. No, I still hate this. Oh, right, we have to get some more story out of the way. So we finally reach Eli's lab, where we're introduced to Mossman.
I'm Dr. Mossman, Dr. Judith Mossman. I've been hearing about you since long before the Black Mesa incident. Oh, Black Mesa. I do so envy you working with Eli and Dr. Kleiner when they were at the top of their field.
Never mind that we almost ended the world.
You should hear her drone on about how it should have been her in the Black Mesa test chamber that day.
Yeah, because then everyone would be so happy to see her and telling her how good she is at everything.
Oh, Gordon. The Vortigaunt said you were here. I can't believe you made it so quickly on foot.
I believe he broke your record, honey.
See, I'm the awesomest dude ever. First try in a foreign land with no map and an airboat that flips easier than an old Ford Explorer. Yeah, I beat the record. I'm Jesus.
There's nothing Gordon can't handle, with the possible exception of you.
Dad, please.
I got one leg
how do I get around?
Black Mesa East has two important parts in it. Part 1, giving you story details. There's no combat in this chapter. The most important thing is this big board with all these news clippings that gives you some context as to what happened. 7-hour war, Earth surrenders, Breen licks the Combine boot and gets installed as an administrator, and that there were horrible portal storms, no doubt caused by the resonance cascades, so no more shooting lasers into mysterious crystals, okay? Eli, what the fuck?
Alex, why don't you take Gordon along and give him some practice with the gravity gun?
Which brings me to part 2. This game masturbating so furiously over its physics engine that it gives itself friction burns. My God. I didn't show some of the earlier stuff like the seesaw puzzle or the buoyancy seesaw puzzle or the one with the washing machine because I want to address this all at once. The Havoc physics engine was a major selling point for Half-Life 2 and you bet your ass they were going to use it every single chance they got. So internally they had this fun weapon that they would pick up things with and toss them around and they say, hey, you know who would love this? The player. They weren't wrong.
This is a gravity gun my father was talking about. You can call it the zero-point energy field manipulator if you really want to.
I don't. I'm gonna go with Zepephum. And Valve absolutely fucking laboriously tells you how to use it, and then after that's finally over, they teach you how to use it more. But it's not boring because of Dog.
Dog! Come!
When I say that this game has top-notch production quality, imagine if it were even more top-notch. Because the character animation on Dog is so fucking good it would have gotten this Game of the Year a decade after release. Valve takes this opportunity to teach you every single thing you need to know. And then Dog throws you a weird electric ball thing, and guess what? You're gonna need to know how to work those later. And then Dog picks up a thing that's too heavy for you to volley back at him, and Alex is like,
No, Dog! No, no, boy! Down! Put that down!
So now you know.
What is it, Dog? Oh my God, what was that?
No, wait, there's no time for that, because we're under attack by Mitchell Shepard.
We're in the scrapyard airlock, stuck in a full auto cycle.
Is Gordon still with you?
He's right here.
Good. I want you two to...
Dad?
Take Gordon out of here. Head for the coast. Do not go through Raven.
Don't go where?
That's the old passage to Ravenholm. We don't go there anymore.
Okay, so Ravenholm. What can I say about the best chapter of what is allegedly the best game ever made? Oh no, Ravenholm slaps. You think I'm gonna come in here and start trashing Ravenholm? The level where the designers do every single thing in their power to jerk off the physics engine? The level where directly after getting the Zepephum it gives you objects that will wreck headcrab zombies in a way we've never seen before? The level with the best atmosphere that visually communicates to the player immediately how bad shit went and how it happened? Because when you walk in, you see the discarded missiles that the game has already showed you are full of headcrabs and launched by the Combine. And there are corpses everywhere, and it's dark and spooky. Nah, kids, this is Half-Life 2 firing on all cylinders. One frame from this area at the very beginning fills you with dread and anticipation. This one frame should be in textbooks describing environmental storytelling. The fact that Ravenholm is so good makes the rest of the game more dull by comparison. You are not powerful here. You aren't Gordon Freeman. You're nobody. And there's a town full of zombies that want to kill you. And it gives you every saw blade manufactured in Eastern Europe at the end of the 20th century. It's Half-Life 2, so it still gives you everything you could ever need to deal with the enemies, and there's health everywhere. But it also has enemies that do more than slap you around or shoot at you, like the poison head crab. I'm not getting hit by this little bastard. He takes your health down to 1% with a neurotoxin that slowly wears off and gives you your health back. But my God, this one tanked a magnum bullet on hard. That's just mean. The poison head crabs aren't unfair. They have very distinct sounds and a long wind-up time. I know I haven't really talked about the weapons because most of them are kinda weak. Not the magnum still rules. Ravenholm drops an enemy that annoying on you and it's fine, even when the poison zombies show up and respawn. spawn fucking indefinitely in one part, because that's how strong this chapter is. There's fast head crab zombies too. You can infer that they're more evolved versions of the zombies you saw in Black Mesa, except they've had time to mature. See, you can infer that much better than you can infer the life story of a random NPC you will never think about again.
Poor Laszlo! The finest mind of his generation.
And finally, Valve stops blueballing you and gives you a shotgun.
Here, I have a more suitable gun for you. You'll need it. Catch!
And it's fine. The accuracy feels all over the place sometimes, and it only holds 6 shells instead of 8 like in the last game, and you're gonna feel every missing shell in Ravenholm. Thanks, Padre. And like, I shut this door so at least I'll know when they're trying to get in, and then... That's not a chef's kiss, that's a chef's blowjob. So I get on this elevator and I'm waiting for a train. And Ravenholm just keeps escalating until the streets are full of a never-ending parade of zombies. Don't worry about it, there's health everywhere. Once you've gotten through that section...
Ah, there you are. At last. I will send the cart for you, brother. It will be but a moment.
I have to wait for a train. While I'm waiting, I can admire the stupid detail of the drain pipes shaking as the zombies climb up them. That's giving a strategic advantage to the player, because Valve loves you. An even more intimidating horde of zombies awaits you as you fight your way through the graveyard with Father Grigori.
Farewell, brother. I fear I deliver you to a darker place. May the light of lights illuminate your path. Look to your own salvation.
He's probably fine. An army of head crabs later, you finally emerge into the daylight, as nighttime only lasts about 2 hours in Eastern Europe due to, I don't know, Putin? This one begins teaching you some things, like how grenades take out snipers just like in the last game. And that Valve's been hiding the fun automatic weapons from you. The Combine Pulse Rifle is really quite good, from the power to the better accuracy to the sound it makes. And the secondary fire is this game's BFG, even if you won't be able to use it quite yet.
Dr. Freeman, you're kidding. Look, I've been on the line with Alex. Her father's been captured.
Yeah, there's a few things that happen to further the plot that take place off-screen because they kind of have to if you want to keep Gordon as the point of view for the whole game.
Eli Vance is indispensable to the liberation.
If you say so, Vortigaunt, who is voiced by Louis Gossett Jr. at the moment, who died this year, R.I.P. Later, they would be voiced by Tony Todd, who also died this year. Shit.
Gordon, you made it through Ravenholm, thank God. I need your help. They've taken my father.
Yeah, I know, but what can I do about it?
I need you to make your way along the coast until you get to Nova Prospect.
Oh, the place that Barney saved me from going to earlier because it's bad. Yeah, sure, that sounds great. At least I've got a shotgun now. So Valve, for once, just throws you to the wolves as this car is dropped because it flips upside down. But you gotta learn that you can get it back up with the Zephethum somehow. The antlions too, but like, the antlions are really not that much of a threat. They're weak, but there's something undeniably awesome about how they explode when you kill them. This kind of thing wasn't something Valve did. The open area with the vehicle stuff, that was the domain of Halo. So Valve picking it up and saying, we can do this too, and in first person, well, good for them. It's kind of like the airboat section in that you find places to stop and explore, and some of them don't have poison zombies waiting for you. It's hard for me to think back to what it was like to play this for the first time, because I was like 16 when it came out, and I thought the driving controls were annoying, so the rest of this breathtaking visual design didn't really impress me.
This steerable rocket launcher is our best bet for taking down a gunship.
Oh yeah, here we go with this. The rocket launcher works a lot like the one in the first game. Laser steering, right, except for an old British gent telling you how to use it instead of picking it up and testing it out on a helicopter. The major difference here is that you need to be able to guide it better since the gunships can shoot down your rockets. And if you don't like fighting gunships with a rocket launcher, I've got some bad news for you because the game repeats this set piece 800 times.
I gather you've disposed of that gunship, Dr. Freeman. Your reputation, sir, is well deserved.
Yeah, I know, I'm awesome. I don't really need supplies, but I go around looking for them anyway. I'll leave with a full complement of rockets. Not that it matters, because every place you need to use rockets has an endless supply of them. You wouldn't want the player to get stuck. Oh yeah, and Vortigaunts can charge up your HEV suit. They're happy to do it.
That should keep the Freeman safe.
Yeah, for like a second. This is the hard playthrough. So, you let me out?
Your mind is opaque.
Okay.
Our life is worthless unless spent on freedom.
Are you fucking with me right now?
We remember the Freeman. We are coterminous.
Is this revenge for all the Vorts I've killed?
Where to now? And to what end?
He's definitely fucking with me, and I can't kill him. I tried.
We shall prevail.
Let me out!
There is no distance between us. No false veils of time or space may intervene. We have lost all dear to us.
Oh my God!
This is more than anyone can bear, but we will persevere.
Stop it! Just let me out! I'm sorry I killed a shitload of your friends in the last game. I thought they were shamblers.
We have lost all dear to us.
Back on the road, we finally used that knowledge of how cranes work to pick up the buggy and then knock over a bridge, and some Combine, and it's easy to forget how this kind of set piece just wasn't as good or polished before Half-Life 2 happened. You see stuff like this all the time in games now. Not quite as focused and refined, you know, or put into a game that is dedicated to not ever really challenging the player. We're on the road again and you've got to take down another gunship, but it's okay, you've got infinite rockets and tons of health. Those electric balls come back around to be a nuisance. There are several nice little Combine battles as you progress down the highway, and it feels less restrictive than the airboat section, even if it is pretty much the same thing. You have to leave the car entirely when you get to the bridge, one of the more famous set pieces in Half-Life 2, for reasons I don't quite understand, because I always found it a little frustrating.
But what we would do is whenever players would get close to edges, we would increase that friction a lot so that people wouldn't accidentally fall off things. It's just not fun for the player, right?
One of the problems I've faced when writing this video is that there isn't a set piece in Half-Life 2, no matter how tedious, that the game won't use at least twice. So guess what? It's time for another gunship battle, except this time the infinite rocket crate is in the middle of the bridge, so you have to backtrack. I know, backtracking. I hope someone got fired for that blunder. You guys want to see one of the rare game over screens? Yeah, it has nothing to do with getting hit with this train. Failure to preserve mission-critical resources. You scratch the car and the G-Man can't get you another one. You could probably walk to Nova Prospekt if there weren't so many stunt jumps in the way. It's surprisingly easy to miss the crossbow, which, unlike in the first game, is an instant kill on a lot of different enemies. But it's not shooting pussy-ass poison darts, but red-hot rebar made for ragdolling. It's let down a little by the fact that it flies in an arc relatively slowly, making it not the greatest sniper weapon. I could just use the Magnum. I struggle to find things to talk about because there's more shooting Combine in dilapidated buildings and then another gunship, this time at the lighthouse that has a supply of infinite rockets. We can't get to sand traps fast enough.
Dear God! Poor Laszlo!
Yeah.
Remember to stay off the sand! The antlions are edgy right now.
Sand Traps is the most high-stakes game of The Floor is Lava that anyone has ever played. You might not realize how useful the Zepephim is until you want to grab a little extra suit power and it's in the sand over there, but now you basically have telekinesis, so it doesn't matter. You also won't realize until you're dragging pieces of scrap metal around that this is just Valve jerking off the physics engine again. A true testament to Valve's prowess as game designers that it takes any time whatsoever. These machines that are supposed to keep the antlions away work most of the time. We have a quick boss fight with an antlion guard because we needed to harvest bug bait. This is a pretty standard boss battle since you just shoot it. So a Vortigaunt carefully removes the bug bait. So now, after spending several chapters avoiding antlions, we can now control them. Valve blue balling is in full effect, and guess what? Now you feel like a fucking god. And of course they teach you exactly how to use it and tell you you're a good boy for understanding.
We will again excel in all tests.
Another high point of this campaign is leading a swarm of antlions into Nova Prospekt. It conveys the epic feeling that Valve was going for and makes it somewhat plausible that one theoretical physicist who gets winded faster if he's using a flashlight while running could break into this notorious prison. We can't have too much of that because we need to shoot down 2 gunships. It's different because it's 2 instead of 1. Look, I've had it with the gunships, okay? I'm not sure who keeps putting poison zombies in secrets, but my money is on Kasali. Probably not the antlion guard, though. That's just... Look, Half-Life 2 is spinning its wheels again while we wait for it to get to something more inspired. After leading antlions to deal with the Combine for what feels like forever, you finally meet Alex again.
My dad's up there somewhere, in that holding area. It's gonna take some doing to get him out.
We're here to get you out, Dad.
Never mind me. Save yourselves.
No, we're not leaving you. I think I can recalibrate the Combine portal to get us out of here.
Yep, that's the plan. Teleport over to Kleiner's lab again, as if that worked the last time with no complications. While the entrance to Nova Prospekt is one of my favorite parts, the inside is one of my least favorite. Because Valve, you've been dodging turrets this whole time, and now you get to use some, although it's a little more like babysitting. It starts out easy, but then transitions into what I think is the most difficult fight in the game. This is entirely down to the number of shotgunners they throw at you. I didn't even really notice a difference between this section on hard versus medium, except in the newer versions, the shotgunners are clearly marked. We find out that Mossman, a character we've been encouraged to not trust, is working with Breen, thinking that the Combine might go easy on them because despite being a scientist, she is very, very stupid.
Damn her, I don't believe this! Leave it talking to me, Gordon. We may need her to get out of here.
Ha! Leave the talking to you, that's funny. Just make sure you don't tip her off that you know she betrayed everyone.
Gordon, how did you get in here? We know all about you and Breen.
What? Alex, you're fucking this up!
You've been a spy for the Combine the whole time.
What are you talking about?
Damn it! Move back, Mossman, we're coming in.
Yeah, and this time, I'm gonna handle things.
Alex, whatever you may think, I assure you, I have worked to protect your father.
Shut up and be glad you're still some use to us.
Yeah, you tell
We're going to reconfigure this teleport and get the hell out of here.
You see, we're working to the same end. I've already reprogrammed the modulator to emulate a Zen relay.
That's my father's work you stole.
Yeah, great job, Mossman, giving that technology to the enemy. Now the Combine can teleport in from anywhere to attack you, and it makes sense within the story, whereas before the game spawned them in from nowhere and it was absolute nonsense. Mossman is trying to save Eli because she likes him, you know, enough to try to convince the Combine to let him live while killing everyone else and then enslaving him to do science stuff. Yeah, it's a great plan, Judith. I'm starting to see why they didn't put you in the test chamber. So we head into another much easier battle where you have to place turrets and wait for the machine to power up again because get this, Mossman takes Eli and teleports away with him, betraying you yet again. So why don't you let me do the talking next time, Alex? With my gun. I know how into all of this killing you are.
I sure am. Good shot. Nice move. Oh, nice work, Gordon. Oh, nice going. Nice shot. Yeah, burn him. I think the teleport exploded just as we were porting out.
Indeed, it did. And the repercussions were felt far and wide, but that was over a week ago.
It's a good excuse to get us right into the revolution. No planning necessary. Everybody's already outside killing. So what are you waiting for? It's not my favorite Half-Life chapter, but it's my favorite Half-Life chapter title. Anti-Citizen 1 is a badass nickname. We get to see the city a little differently now that we've got a gun. I like the way the Combine's wall things are encroaching more and more. The game is back to introducing stuff like the hoppers, which are explosive barrels with extra steps. And they're not a bad idea at all, I just don't want to spend half an hour of my game time pulling them out of the ground. And yeah, we're mostly fighting Combine again. But now we've got a squad.
Don't forget to reload, Dr. Freeman.
Pardon me. Reload, Dr. Freeman!
You thought there was health everywhere before. Just wait until you have medkit dispensers that follow you around.
Take this medkit.
And so now you're going to continue to be funneled through set pieces like the Manhack invasion, which is a lot less stressful when you realize the Zepephim can, when correctly used, insta-kill Manhacks. You protect Alex as she does a thing to open a door. Alex climbs a building and gets kidnapped. We go through a sewer. I wait for a train. Okay, the chapter about saving Barney's ass. That's right, he's still in this game.
Gordon, take out these snipers, would you?
Yeah, I'm working on it. Why do I have to say shit?
Grenades!
I know, Barney!
All right, thanks, Gordon. Now let's clear out of here.
Barney enlists Gordon to help him destroy the suppression device in this big old building, which is more about removing energy balls from force fields. I can see why he needed me for that since I have the only Zepephim in existence. Yo, goddammit, get out of here! Unstable balls! I'm not gonna stop and tell you about all the Combine battles you get into, because that's all you really do. You fight Combine, you destroy 3 balls, then you go on the roof and fight yet another gunship. But don't worry, the whole grab some rockets and shoot down a thing that's hitting you with suppressing fire isn't going anywhere. Because once you're outside again, the Combine sends Striders after you. Now, the Strider is cool looking, but it's another missile target that's kinda easier to deal with than the gunships because it doesn't seem capable of shooting my rockets down. They soak up plenty of them, and because this is Half-Life 2, I can only carry like 3. But don't worry, there's infinite rockets, kids, and there's health everywhere. For all these impressive set pieces, you're still doing the same things over and over, heading in a straight line until the game stops you. You have to shoot down like, I don't know, 100 Striders.
Dog came crashing through the plaza, knocking over walls, and I think he's looking for Alex. He seems to have it set in his head that she's in the Citadel. I figured Alex wouldn't want him getting any deeper in trouble, but hell, you try stopping him. Hey, dog! Not there! You can't get through that way! Well, I'll be damned. I think he wants you to go through, Gordon. You'd better hurry.
Oh, I'm sorry, Barney. I thought this whole revolution was about not listening to our machine overlords. Fuck you. Where's the beer you owe me? Finally, we've entered the Citadel, that big building that's been teased to us since early game, that's loomed in the sky for so long. It's eerily cold-looking, featureless, utilitarian, so yeah, checks out. I don't think it's a good idea to restrain yourself inside of your enemy's base, but hey, I'm not a theoretical physicist. We get a marvelous and very long tour of the Citadel as I wait for this train, but oh no, the game is taking all my weapons away.
Security alert. Unregistered weapons detected. Confiscation field.
We just had like this incredibly intense, Strider fight. How are we going to outdo that, especially when we only got a month to do this thing? We then came up with the idea of like, well, what if we made this just be your god?
Of course, forcing me to restrain myself again so that I can be taken directly to Breen's office as a hostage? I feel like there could have been a more organic solution than giving up, but they say they only had like a month to finish the game by this point, so yeah, whatever.
Don't struggle, it's no use. Until you're where he wants you, there's nothing you can do. I'm sorry, Gordon.
Well, if it isn't Gordon Freeman at last. What's this? I'll put it over there.
Definitely an administrator and not a scientist.
Having both of you in my keeping ensures I can dictate the terms of any bargain I care to make with the Combine.
Smarmy prick.
Dr. Breen. Huh. Wallace.
Yes, Judith, what is it?
The bargain we should be making is for Eli's life so he can continue his research.
You're both idiots. The Combine are gonna kill you when you're no longer of any use to them. That's their thing. I think. I don't know. It hasn't really been explained yet.
You're more than qualified to finish his research yourself.
And I think this is the point where Mossman is like, oh wait, I'm an idiot. Because he's got Alex too.
God damn you, Breen, you let her go.
That's all up to you, my old friend. Will you let your stubborn short-sightedness doom the entire species, or will you give your child the chance her mother never had?
Ew. I think it's weird the way he's touching her, and I made that Garden of Love montage 4 chapters ago. Breen threatens to send Eli and Alex off to some horrible dimension somewhere.
Fortunately, the Resistance has shown it is willing to accept a new leader. And this one has proven to be a fine pawn for those who control him.
Do we know that? Because I really don't know what the G-Man's end game here is. Nobody does.
How about it, Dr. Freeman? Did you realize your contract was open to the highest bidder?
Nah, man, they treat me like a fungus. Keep me in the dark and feed me shit. I'd speak up about it, but,
Dad, I'm so sorry.
Alex, sweetheart.
Judith, what do you think you're doing?
We're doing what I could never do alone. We're stopping you.
Yeah, it's about goddamn time, Judith.
Guards, get in here. They know you betrayed them. They'll turn on you. Judith, Dr. Mossman, please.
Breen grabs the Zapathum and saves some money in the animation budget by making the screen turn white, and then everybody's freed while he runs. So let's go after him.
Gordon, we haven't known each other very long, but I know you didn't have to do this.
I kinda did. I don't have any control over my own actions, and all paths lead to the same place.
Thanks for coming after me.
Yeah, Alex, I know. Breen is still trying to cut a deal with the Combine, which, whatever, I'm tired of him being alive. He's about to teleport out, so we need to go and ice him now. So we go up and Breen taunts us and we throw energy balls at gunships and into the portal, and I never liked this ending. It feels kind of anticlimactic because while Breen is a shithead, he's not the one pulling the strings for either side. He's an old paper pusher out of options. But don't you worry, Alex, I'll kill him good for you.
You need me.
Yeah! Did it!
Alex, I couldn't have done it without you getting kidnapped.
Come on, Gordon. We've got to get out of here. Maybe we still have...
Time, Dr. Freeman?
Well, I'm glad you're acknowledging my credentials, finally.
Is it really that time again? It seems as if you only just arrived. You've done a great deal in a small time span. You've done so well, in fact, that I've received some interesting offers for your services.
Now, I remember seething at this ending when I first played this because I'd gone through all the trouble of, this whole fucking game. And then G-Man says, nope, I'm taking you out of here and you're gonna go off and do something else.
I do apologize for what must seem to you an arbitrary imposition, Dr. Freeman. I trust it will all make sense to you in the course of...
No, don't make that promise. Don't you dare. Not that any of this matters, because then episode 1 happens. So, not quite 2 years later, at the start of the episodic gaming craze that no longer exists, because developers decided that crunching for a project every 6 months or so was probably really, really awful, Episode 1 was released to a gaming public that was still dying for Half-Life content and wanted to see where the story went. Well, in Episode 1 it doesn't go very far. A group of Ortogonts undoes the ending of the main campaign,
We'll see about that.
Great, cool. What now? Some more incredibly impressive dog animations. In fact, all the character animations look better, though that could be because I'm playing on the newest release, the one that came out for the 20th anniversary. I've been working on this video for way too goddamn long. I don't really have a ton to say about Episode 1. You get pulled from the rubble by Dog, Alex gives you a big old hug.
Oh my god! Gordon!
Minor
So worried.
detected.
Hey, the gravity gun. Give it to him, Dog.
Oh yeah, it wouldn't be Half-Life 2 without our physics dildo. So, because we wrecked the Citadel, it's going to explode soon, and we have to get out of the city, but we won't have time to do that unless we go back inside the Citadel and slow the reaction. Dog has a solution to get us inside, which is as close as Half-Life ever comes to being a straight-up theme park ride. And it comes pretty fucking close sometimes with how linear it is.
Whew. Good throw, Dog!
Now go, boy, go on. You'll be fine, just...
Uh-oh. What now? Whoa! Phew. Alright, let's get off before the next ride starts.
We somehow survived this in a car without seatbelts. Essentially, we're just getting more Citadel, which includes getting the Zepethum supercharged again, fighting more Combine, using the electric balls against some stalkers, and establishing a kind of villain for the rest of the game. Mossman sent out some important data that Alex is carrying, and the Combine is going to chase us until they can get it back. Breen's last conversation with the Combine was him speaking to a Combine advisor, I think, and that advisor sees us here and gets flown out because, the imminent massive explosion that'll destroy the city. There's a lot of Portal puzzles here, and I know that Portal is basically a Half-Life 2 mod with some polish, so shooting energy balls to activate things is from here first, but let's move on. We temporarily stabilize the big orb thing, and then escape on a train.
Well, that was a nice clean getaway.
The train is full of Combine stalkers and crashes because it's a train in a video game. I want to highlight a scene here because I think the episodes do a better job of some things than the base game does. Like characterization. This train scares the crap out of Alex, and when it crashes, she's stuck under one of the stalkers right in her face. And she doesn't just brush it off. This actually freaks her out.
Hold up a sec. I gotta catch my breath.
Look at that, she's taking something more seriously, aside from her father getting kidnapped. I feel the urge to comfort her and tell her that it's all right. But alas, I can't speak. All I can do is murder and allegedly do science. And maybe that's enough.
We're in the same boat as the other evacuees now. On foot to a train station.
And that's the journey Episode 1 takes us on. While another team was working on Episode 2, the designers were making a nice little expansion where they'd be able to reuse assets, because we're just going through City 17 again. Only this time mostly destroyed instead of half destroyed. We're introduced to...
A Combine zombie. That's like a zombine, right? Zombine, get it?
The girl who likes you is making a joke, but you're powerless to laugh. Fuck the Zombines, though. They're extra tough. Somehow. Despite the Combine generally having the constitution of a late-game Jenga tower. And they're kamikazes. Alex doesn't have a flashlight, so I have to shine mine on things that I need her to shoot. And there's significantly less health and ammo, like they did better on the balance this time around. This pitch-black parking garage has every kind of enemy you can think of. Zombines, regular zombies, antlions, everything except Combine, thank God, because I'm really sick of shooting Combine. A new mechanic is introduced to solve a new problem introduced in this episode. Blast cars over holes with the Zepephim to stem the tide of antlions coming in. Yeah, this city is fucked. And of course, everyone's favorite, waiting for a train in the dark. Episode 1 is mostly Valve using everything they've already made and squeezing every last bit of juice out of it. This particular section is, what if we did Ravenholm stuff, but it was a giant pain in my balls?
That was close.
Yeah, I know, right? That just happened. But seriously, Alex, get a fucking flashlight.
The destabilization of the City 17 reactor has had repercussions that were not entirely unexpected.
I've never been happier
Although
to see
we
Dr.
hardly
Connor.
dared speak this hope ahead of time, the destructive pulse forced a damper on the entire network of linked Citadel reactors.
Ah, good. City's gonna explode still, right? You remember the snipers from the campaign. Now Alex is one. We find Barney again, and let's see how he's doing.
I'm doing okay, just going crazy trying to...
Found us!
Aw, hell, Gordon, were you followed again?
We stole some information from the Citadel on our way out. I don't know what it is yet, but it's important enough that they've been hounding us the whole way here.
Well, that puts the pressure on. Look, we gotta get moving. You guys know about the evacuation trains, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we've been planning to make a push on the train station. Now it looks like we're gonna have to cut a path through every chicken ship Metro cop who's having second thoughts about defending City 17.
If Gordon and I took a separate route, we could draw the Combine away from you.
Yeah, great, thanks, Alex. That's what we should be doing. And so we fight through a hospital full of Combine and zombies that ends with another gunship fight, except this one jerks off the physics engine to the max. I know some of you might feel like I'm shortchanging Episode 1, but it's really just more Half-Life 2. We've seen this movie before. Like, it's mostly not bad and a little tighter than the base campaign, but like... Then you get to the train station and escort some people in groups to trains, and I don't know, I feel like I've shown all of this before. It's the same gameplay transplanted into a slightly different setting. Although a lot of these areas are copied and pasted, whole hallways, rooms, so it gets a little, how did that Strider even get in here?
You're my new hero.
Yeah, it's not the first or 50th Strider I've had to kill. Are we out of here or what? Let's get to doing some of that procreation Kleiner was talking about. We're gonna have some cute babies that have really poor eyesight. And we finally escape City 17. The Citadel doesn't explode. A big portal opens and a bunch of Combine ships fly through it. I'm feeling a little ripped off, honestly. Bold of Valve to end every fucking game with a cliffhanger. Let's see if it works out for them. Because you were previously on a train, you're now on a crashed train. I'm starting to think that Alex has much stronger plot armor than Gordon, because after all these cataclysmic events, she's just like...
Oh, Gordon, thank God you're okay.
And what's the first thing you get? The Zepephum.
Wow, I forgot what a kick this thing has.
You might notice everything looks prettier than usual. That's because Episode 2 was the first to release on a newer version of the Source engine that added stuff like dynamic shadows. It started development when Episode 1 did, but took much longer because of Valve. Episode 2 is also much more impressive than Episode 1 in terms of story, scale, scope, gameplay. Really everything is better and tighter. There's a lot less train waiting. And the flashlight has its own power meter instead of being tied to your stamina, which is a thing I really could have used like 5 chapters ago when it would have made a difference.
When I couldn't find you, I got... I know. I shouldn't have worried.
Yeah, you shouldn't have. At least not about that.
Oh my God. The Citadel. What the hell is happening?
I don't know. I think City 17 looks better than ever.
Oh! Portal storm! Look! The bridge!
Oh man, look at them physics.
The first days all over again.
Good, I missed out on that. It sounded exciting. I don't know how you survived that. I suspect you're only alive because people like you, you know?
Don't worry, Dad, we're fine. But something really strange is happening with the Citadel.
Oh yes, we've been monitoring the situation. The raw discharge of the meltdown has been focused into a coherent beam of portal energy.
It's the Combine.
Oh, is it the Combine? Fucking shocking.
What you're seeing is the infancy of a super portal. If it attains full strength,
it'll be the 7-hour war all over again. Except this time we won't last 7 minutes.
My God. Gordon, what if that's why they were sending so much data from the Citadel?
Look, I understand the urgency, I do, but I'm Gordon Freeman, and I am Jesus, and I'm with Alex, who is an unstoppable iron lady boner fueled by violence. Like I saw her tank a grenade from a zombine, and oh goddammit, now I'm saying it. Alex, like usual, sends me to do some busy work while she stirs up trouble. Just like always.
Gordon, there's nothing around out here.
Yeah, so shoot it. Now, I see, just crawl over here and... Oh. Shit. Whoa. This isn't how this is supposed to go, Val. This is Garden of Love. You don't do this, right? Well, like any corner that they write themselves into, the solution is Vortigaunt's.
Kara! Jam. Ko. The Alex Vance. What time has come?
Okay, I'm back. I'm good. Tony Todd is here. Louis Gossett Jr. is great, but nobody is Tony Todd. R.I.P.
Ah, the free man. I am pleased to see at least you are unharmed. But the Alex Vance, her condition is grave.
Nothing a clan of Orts can't fix, right? Whew, Half-Life 2, you had me worried there for a second. And caring about your characters.
My kin will meet us at a sheltered location beneath the surface.
That translates to go off alone and kill some shit before the next big set piece. And to eat bug slop. We're in the Antlion caves, kids, and if you thought that there was health everywhere before, man, they've got it coming out of the goddamn walls in here. This must be pissing off the Antlions, because I may be killing their children and eating bits of them. Is this how we treat the heroes of the Battle of Nova Prospect? Not quite. There's new Antlions that spit neurotoxin at you. They go splat just as good, though. I get the sense that Valve wanted to show off how pretty their terrain could look, and yeah, looks great. I didn't realize until now that antlions immediately die when they get into water. Probably not the best place for them to live since, like, quite a few drown themselves. One gets owned by a barnacle. They all get owned by the shotgun.
Checkley! We got antlions!
Oh, hey guys, what's up? You ready to get saved by the free man? Let's go. What have you got for me?
Alex Vance is over here. The Vort's trying to patch her up.
Hold on, I need ammo. She'll be fine. She doesn't look good, though.
Alex Vance clings to the margins.
As long as you're down here, Freeman, maybe you can give us a hand.
I literally can't go anywhere until I do, sir. We've got to protect Alex and the Vort while the antlions invade from 4 different hallways. We've only got 2 turrets, and it's been a while since I've blasted through episode 2, so I forgot how easy the first few waves are.
Hey, Doc, you ever seen an antlion before?
The fuck you just say to me? You know nothing of my work. It gets worse. Now we're talking. This gets the blood pumping. Once that's over, we need to head back out into the caves to get some larval extract from the antlions, which will save Alex. For reasons, don't worry about it. To get it, you have to dodge the attacks of a souped-up antlion guard, who I'm not supposed to kill, but don't worry, there's health everywhere. The Vortigaunt magics up some alien baby gravy and we go help Alex.
Dr. Freeman.
Oh God, with this dead-eyed dick again.
I realize this moment may not be the most convenient for a heart-to-heart.
It's fine. I'm just putting some baby gravy into Alex so she can... No, wait.
There was a time they cared nothing for Miss Vance, when their only experience of humanity was a crowbar coming at them down a steel corridor.
It was a shotgun, but whatever.
When I plucked her from Black Mesa... Black Mesa... I acted in the face of objections that she was a mere child and of no practical use to anyone.
I didn't think you could be creepier, G-Man, but you've outdone yourself. Is your office near Borealis or something? What is happening?
Still, I am not one to squander my investments. And I remain confident she was worth far more than the initial appraisal.
Hey, who's the star of this fucking show? Who's the free man?
That's why I must now extract from you some small repayment owed for your own survival.
You had me on ice for 20 years while all my friends suffered under an occupying alien force, you trans-dimensional loose-skinned child abducting uncanny valley dumpster of alien spunk. You ain't shit. These episodes have turned you into Shatner in Tech War. What are you gonna do, threaten to put me back in the freezer? Fuck you. Finish your exposition and then fuck off back to null space. I hope John Carmack gives you a temporal swirly, you... Ooh. No, I'm not getting worked up over this. I don't care about the story. I shouldn't care about the story because they're never gonna finish it.
Now, listen carefully, my dear. When you see your father, relay these words. Prepare for unforeseen consequences.
Oh my God. I thought for sure I was dead.
No, you were only mostly dead. Very curable condition when you've got magic. Go into the comments and explain why the Vorts aren't magic. She's fine though. She can't really walk good yet and doesn't help me take down antlions, but they're antlions. The only people who have trouble with antlions are the Combine and Laszlo.
Dear God! Poor Laszlo!
I keep making fun of this motherfucker, but I do remember him. Alright, we need to get to a car. There's one on the bridge protected by the biggest seesaw physics puzzle you've ever seen. Alex is strong enough to provide some sniper cover and he kills zombies. Not really that much to talk about, so... This is episode 2 in a nutshell. It's doing a lot of the same kind of things that Half-Life 2 has already done, except it's prettier, tighter, and somehow when Alex tells you to stop somewhere, it feels like you're organically being led into the next first-person cutscene that moves the plot forward.
Gordon, hide.
Oh yeah, we got some Combine hunters. You might think I hate them because they stabbed Alex and made me go through all that other stuff before, but nah, the hunters are a breath of fresh air. The Combine hunters shake up the gameplay more than any of the other new enemies in these episodes. They're fast, tanky but not too tanky, have good feedback, shoot halo needles at you. There, 2 of them down.
There's another one!
Oh, shit!
Do this!
Half this room is destroyed after their attack. This is what I'm talking about, man. This is top-tier Valve content.
I think that's all of them.
Oh, wow.
We should get our warning out and then keep moving.
That was probably a scouting party.
This is White Forest. Identify yourself.
This is
Alex? Alex Vance? Where are you? I expected you hours ago.
Well, we had a bit of a setback.
Don't you understand the gravity of the situation? The survival of Earth depends on the data you
Yes,
carry.
I know. But the Combine, they're heading your way.
What? What's that? What? You're heading our way? Well, I should hope so.
No, not us.
What was that?
The Combine.
You're
have to
breaking
get
up,
ready.
Alex. What?
Crap.
That's Dr. Magnuson, who...
I wonder if he got any of that.
Well, we'll get to him. I love him. He's my favorite new character. Because at no point during that conversation did he say, "Oh, look, it's Gordon Freeman. Let me go get my knee pads." And just when you think the danger has subsided and the game is going to give you a rest like it usually does, bam, unkillable psychic worm creature is back. Remember them? Luckily, its little chamber explodes before it can suck my brains out. But it also calls for reinforcements. I love how effective the crossbow is on hunters. Back on the road, and this feels really familiar. A helicopter dropping bombs on me. The time between Valve blueballing you and giving you catharsis is the shortest ever in the series, I think. As a minute later, you're picking up those bombs and tossing them back. So we've done airboat helicopter fight, we've done car helicopter fight, we've done rocket launcher helicopter fight, and we've done Zepephum helicopter fight. I think that's every possible avenue for these gameplay mechanics, right? They installed a radar onto our car so that the Lambda stashes are even less hidden. I swear Valve was working overtime to put every last thing they could think of into this. I mean, look at this physics puzzle. Cool. We're led to a picturesque little village inn that seems deserted. Wait, no.
It's a trap!
The Alex Vance continues to excel at all tasks. A knockdown, drag-out fight with the Combine, who are now always accompanied by hunters to make things more interesting. Still pretty easy, but not as easy as before. We get the best dog animations that money can buy, kids. Oh man, I know I'm not actually doing anything here, but Dog vs. Strider is cool as shit.
Get clear! Dad!
Alex!
I was so afraid I wouldn't see you again.
There, sweetheart. We're together now. That's all that matters. And look at you, son. I knew if you both stayed together, you could get through anything.
Yeah?
I like to think that the Vortigaunt behind him is tapping into the collective consciousness right now, like, hey, the Eli Vance. We helped.
We make a pretty good team.
Yeah, well, that's good, because, well, now that the suppression field's down, we all have to do our part.
Eli's just over here like, Gordon Freeman, thank God you're here. Please fuck my daughter.
Dad?
Can you blame an old man for wanting grandkids?
Look, I've been waiting in so much radioactive sludge that I'm probably sterile.
My dear, what a relief. Not to mention a delight to see you here at last. And Gordon, I see you in the HEV suit have taken excellent care of each other.
They're inseparable.
Alex, you could get it off any time. Also, where's my hug?
Kleiner, are you going to sync up the satellite, or should I postpone the launch to make time for a family reunion?
Oh, brother.
I love him. I mean, like right now he's being a dick, but he's not wrong.
I was just saying hello to Alex and Gordon.
Oh, fine. No one grants me a moment's peace, but by all means, unroll the red carpet.
Now, my dear, where is this data packet you've been carrying?
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. What does that do exactly?
If I delay a single moment, I'll never hear the end of it.
You have my word on it.
Yeah, Magnuson is an asshole, but he's got a good reason. One of his best scientists is a complete dweeb who keeps a pet head crab.
Another alarm?
Oh, what next? A parade of constant interruptions.
Speak of the fucking devil. You just stay put, Lamar. Stay. Magnuson sends me into the tunnels to, do Freeman stuff. Yes, I am! And then we're actually attacked by the Combine. This section gives me a lot of old Black Mesa vibes, the steel and concrete and science equipment. I seal the silo doors to prevent more Combine from getting in, but things are getting worse. I mean, look at this Vort in a lab coat. Why is he wearing a lab coat? They quickly analyze the footage with Mossman to discover...
It's the Borealis.
Good God.
Incredible!
What? The Borealis? It's real?
Oh yes, quite real, despite its almost legendary stature. Our peers at Aperture Science, we heard their research vessel had simply disappeared, vanished, with all hands, and even part of the dry dock.
The Borealis pulled a Starship Titanic spontaneous mass existence failure.
Ah, but now that we've found it, we can use it against the Combine.
Did you use it? That thing has to be destroyed.
But think of the advantage for humanity. We can't simply waste all that potential.
Has Black Mesa taught you anything? There's no controlling that kind of power.
I'm sure this would have gone terribly wrong if they'd ever continued this story properly.
Gordon and I are more than able to handle this.
Yeah, I guess we'll see. Or not.
Dad, are you okay?
Not again. No, I can't let it happen again. Not another Black Mesa.
Holy shit, that's Eli as a character actually reflecting on the horrible damage he's helped cause. You guys are actually using Robert Guillaume to, emote? Besides being worried about his daughter? You guys could have done this for so long and you were too busy jerking off the physics engine okay, Alex, he's clearly going through it. Can you talk to him because I can't?
Dad, prepare for unforeseen consequences.
Alex, no, that's not helping.
Unforeseen consequences. The last time I heard those words was back at Black Mesa. You had just stepped into the test chamber when you whispered them in my ear. You know who I'm talking about. Our mutual friend.
Unfortunately, yes. You probably could have mentioned this earlier since I've been basically conscripted into his service for reasons that have not and may never be explained.
Now he's using my little girl, putting words in her mouth. God damn it. I should have known when he rescued her it was for his own damn reasons. Gordon, there's so much I need to tell you. Between us, we may finally have a chance of,
Here you go. Is everything all right?
Oh, excuse me if I'm interrupting tea time.
Magnuson, we're kind of doing something here. This is an emergency.
Well, Freeman, I believe I've found the perfect use for you. Now, you've proved yourself capable, and the staff seem to respect you. Therefore, I'm putting defense of White Forest and this ingenious new weapon of mine in your hands.
New weapon? All right, now you're speaking my language. In fact, you should speak my language more often and shut the fuck up so I can go kill things to impress my girlfriend. I got the okay from her dad, and it was way easier than I thought it would be. He was like, no, Gordon, it's okay, raw dogger. We need to repopulate the species with smart science babies. I just really hope the G-Man doesn't start talking through her while we're doing it, but she can call me Dr. Freeman all she likes, you know what I'm saying?
We call it the Magnuson device. Not my chosen label, you understand, but it seemed to please the personnel.
Well, it looks like a prickly ball of bullshit, so that tracks. And because Valve, you're taught how to use it before going out there.
Oh, and Freeman, if you pull this off, I might just forgive you for that debacle at Black Mesa. You know the one I mean.
Oh, so someone remembers that I helped wreck the planet?
Involving a certain microwave casserole.
Are you fucking kidding? This is why that's your villain origin story? But it was a prank, bro. It's nothing. My
God, what are you doing? What are you...
Prepare for unforeseen consequences.
Also, I shot a couple of people at Black Mesa. When I say that the Battle for White Forest is the peak of Half-Life design, I mean it. Apparently, Dario Casali was leading the charge on this one, from what I can gather from the 20th anniversary documentary. And they worked a lot to get this thing off the ground, and I can't tell you how successful this battle is in capping off this episode. Basically, you drive around in your car picking up Magnuson devices, throwing them at Striders, and then shooting them. Because Magnuson couldn't create a detonation device. So this enormous map is being invaded by Striders and Hunters. There are NPCs milling around, but they're not really very useful. It's up to you. And it's Valve magic through and through. The best ending of anything Half-Life related, and it isn't even close. Yeah, I hate that you can only carry one of these devices on your car, but it keeps you moving. The Striders aren't spawned in maliciously to screw you over, they're destroying buildings in the most impressive physics jacking to date. And this time when you return to the base, when everyone is cheering you, it feels like you've actually earned it. Like you're finally living up to the legendary status afforded to Gordon Freeman, who up to this point did do some impressive stuff, like aborting a giant baby, easily destroying the Citadel based off pure luck and dodgy technology, waiting for trains, everything to get here. This is where it ends, kids. And I didn't think I'd be sad about that again. But here we are.
Ah, Freeman. Well, I see the Magnuson device performed flawlessly. I feel compelled to thank you personally.
Holy shit!
For saving my rocket. So,
Wow. For a minute there, I thought you were gonna get a hug.
Yeah, really, where the fuck is my hug? Alright, let's launch this rocket.
Wait a moment. I'm seeing a payload anomaly of approximately 8.5 pounds.
That's nothing, Kleiner. Don't worry about it.
It's all yours, Gordon.
Yes. Yes.
Silo door is open.
That's right, Lamar. Fuck up my teleport, will ya? Who's laughing now, face fucker?
It is going to work, right?
It has to.
Once the rocket is in range of the portal, we'll be able to switch on the xenium resonator.
Well, let's get outside. I'd like a better view of the fireworks.
Oh, episode 2. I know what's coming, and I still admire how you build up to it.
Gordon, hold up a
Dog,
second.
there you are.
The more I think about that warning from our friend, the more I'm convinced it has to do with Borealis. Don't be deceived. That ship must never be used.
I'm on board, Doc. I mean, if the time came for me to make that choice, I would probably quick save and see how it turned out both ways, you know, for science.
Gordon, thanks for everything you've done. For Alex, for all of us. I couldn't be prouder if you were my own son.
Okay, maybe they're laying it on a little thick here, but that's Valve for you. Bye-bye Combine Portal, hello Free Earth. Everything's coming up Millhouse.
Dog? Hey, where are you?
It's probably nothing. Not that I can stop what's coming. Not that I really have any power. Sure, I can blow things up, shoot guys, allegedly do science, but...
Get away!
Listen to me. Destroy that ship. Whatever it takes. Destroy it.
Don't! Dad, look out! No! Dad! Dad! God damn it, let go of him! No! Gordon! Dog!
What a gut punch. Man, it would be really awful if that's where they left the franchise for over a decade, or retconned the absolute hell out of it in a game that requires a beefy PC and a VR headset. I won't tell you what happens, maybe another day. So why is there no Half-Life 2 Episode 3? Better yet, why is there no Half-Life 3 yet? Well, that's apparently a very easy question to answer. Valve employees expressed that they were basically out of ideas on what to do with their current engine, tools, gameplay mechanics. They wrung every last drop they could out of Half-Life 2, so that when they went to design Episode 3, they came up with nothing, really. A cool ice gun, but with this footage, you're just shooting more Combine, just in the snow. The garden is closed, kids. We've picked every fruit, drank deeply of their juices, and I no longer mourn the loss of Half-Life 3. It's been 16 years since Episode 2. Mark Laidlaw can toss out whatever notes he had of where the story went, but we may never know, especially after Half-Life Alyx, how any of this ends. Because Valve can't make a game that they feel lives up to this legacy.
But sort of saying that your reason to do it is because people want to know what happens next. You know, we could have shipped it, like it wouldn't have been that hard. You know, the failure was, my personal failure was being stumped. Like I couldn't figure out why doing Episode 3 was pushing anything forward.
Valve has the resources at its disposal these days to do whatever they want. And if Portal 2, Half-Life Alyx, Left 4 Dead, if that's what they're gonna do, then I'm okay with that. It's a little annoying that we don't have any closure after that ending, though. Half-Life's narrative is one of the most...
The story was never the boss of anything.
What?